welcome back. Corey with you, and you just knew one day we were going to do a demo of the PRS SE Silver Sky. But this is not just your normal spin through the controls and play a couple sounds demo. I'm actually going to show you 3 of my favorite tones that you can get for blues and blues rock on a guitar like this. I thought this would be the perfect demo for this guitar. Everybody's going to do sort of a walkthrough and a comparison. We're going to actually play some music and jam and have some fun with some tones. So before we jump into that, big thanks to my friends at Sweetwater that loaned me this guitar. This is a killer Blues Jr amp. That is like one of their limited edition Sweetwater models with the Cowboy Tolex, Cannabis Rex speaker. I'm even going to bring in a pedal to kind of up the ante a little bit on another tone. But for the most part, we're going to be hearing guitar and amp. The amp's going into the UA aux box, which I always use to keep it quiet in the house, and to get direct output from the amp into that as my speaker modeler. Okay, more on that. If you ever have a question, drop it in the comments. You can, of course, check out all the gear I'm going to use in the description below, too. You can find all that stuff down there. Check it out. Have a good time with the specs on your own. So before we get into that, let's listen a little bit more to me playing some Texas blues on the neck pickup of the SE Silver Sky, and then we'll walk through a brief sort of demo and talk about tones, tones, tones. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is super fun to play, especially with a guitar like this that can make it sound the way it's supposed to. We're just using the neck pickup full on wide open. Everything's, definitely open, the volume, the tone controls and all. Now the trick though, for getting that kind of sound isn't just the guitar, it's actually in how you play. But let's talk about the settings. We're gonna turn the guitar wide open, and the Blues Jr here, somewhere 3, 4-ish, somewhere around there. And we can tell when we hit it, if we were to play something like, it sounds okay, but it sounds better when you really go for it and you're hitting hard. And that's what your players like Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Mayer will do. They know to really get the sound out of this, it's got to push the pickup, it's got to push the amp, and that takes you into that sort of Texas world. Now, what we can do is Fender provides this little foot switch for the fat setting. It kicks in a little more gain, which is nice because then we can really start to push the amp and get even more of that sound like I used in the demo. So that's it. It's actually a lot more to do with how you play. But you can live on that neck pickup all the time. And frankly, that's what a lot of people do. I want to also suggest that you use sort of a medium gauge pick so that you can really get into it. The pick will flex and it's not going to sound pointy or too rigid. Put the fat switch on. could just do that all day. So like I said, all of these tones are coming just from the neck pickup, but it's also about how you attack this thing. And if you attack it right, with the right amount of pressure, go for it. You're not gonna break it. You might break a string, you'll see what I mean. And honestly, you wanna do that. You wanna get to a place where you know how far to push it and then back off, and the guitar will let you know. So get you a medium pick, get you some kind of Fender amp, and really start to lay into this guitar and really see if you can get some of that Texas stuff like I'm getting, wide open neck pickup. We got more coming in the bridge and middle, and then the 2 and 4 positions on this guitar. Stick around, let's jump to another sound. All right, so you heard me playing some slide there and some single note stuff on the Silver Sky, and I wanted to do something that was a little bit different, play around with the tone controls, obviously play some slide, and use some pickups that are often neglected. You know, the middle position on a guitar like this is often overlooked. People just go to the bridge, the neck, or maybe the number 4 position, or the bridge sometimes can come off too bright. What's great about this Silver Sky is that it's has a tone control wired to the bridge, and then of course the middle one is wired to the middle and the neck. So you can kind of take the edge off of those pickups, which is pretty nice. And they will have a brightness to them. They're modeled after a pickup that would have that type of sound. So if we listen to the middle pickup just on its own, definitely got some brightness. But I like to take that tone control, turn it down about a quarter turn. And it makes for a little more pleasing sound, for sure. Same thing can happen with the bridge. I'll take that. That was already turned down a little bit, but here it is wide open. Super bitey. Take it, turn it down a quarter step. Okay, that's nice. I turned the amp up a little bit too. I got it somewhere around 5 or 6 right now, and I can do that because I'm using the aux as my speaker. But I just wanted to increase the gain a little bit. I'm not using the fat switch because I brought in the Plumes from Earthquaker pedals. I've never owned an Earthquaker pedal before. This is a really great version of a tube screamer circuit, and it's got this switch in the middle that gives you a couple different choices. And when you're doing this on camera, it looks weird. No, don't change this. I'm kidding. You can change the switch to get some different sounds. I have it in the first position to get some more compression, and I have the gain relatively low, and I have the treble turned down or the tone control turned down quite a lot. So when I kick it on, it's got this nice fuzziness to it. But I could rock out too. Now if I brought that tone control back, way too snappy and bright, and I think that's what turns people off. So take that tone control and turn it down about a quarter turn. Now we're gonna take that tone, and you can't get away from the 60 cycle hum that happens. Shout out to his channel. It's just gonna happen when you go to that single coil mode. When you go to 2 and 4, it cancels it out a little bit because it's now essentially humbucking, right? So we go to the middle position, got the tone control turned down, throw the slide on. So now it has a little bit more aggressive tone, but not quite as bright. I actually want to take that down even more. Now the brass slide has a particular tone. Let's hear the silica sound. That's probably even more Bonnie-ish. And you notice it's habit when I play one of these guitars, I just go and grab the volume control. A little warmer. Let's hear the V-pick slide. Not as much sustain in that, but also pretty cool. So I played around with some of those, ended up on the, oh gosh, what is it? Rockslide, that's what it's called. And I had that set up a certain way, and in the track, it's not as noisy as it is here, but it really worked, so. Play around with your middle position and your tone control. That's the trick. When you're adding gain and you want to get a rock sound, try and play around with that tone control. And I love, some guitars, some, Stratocaster style guitars don't have a tone control wired to the bridge pickup. This one does, which is really nice. If I opened it up, not as cool. And I just broke a string. So I changed this string, we're back in action, and that's just some fun stuff you can do with the middle and the bridge position and the tone controls. The only tricky part is if you want to go to sort of an unadulterated neck sound and you go up on the switch, you're gonna have to dial your tone control back too. But these guitars, any 3 pickup Strat style guitar like this, you could modify and find the wiring diagrams to maybe put no tone control on the neck and have that wide open and have one just from the bridge in the middle. That sounds like maybe a situation if you like what you're doing here. So that was our slide tone with our middle position. Bridge. You want to get some great Mike Campbell-ish type stuff, you can do that as well. But again, pay close attention to your tone controls and try those pickup positions out because there's good stuff in there. All right, so also, that was using the Plumes from Earthquaker and of course going through our Blues Jr as our same amp. And I cranked up the gain a little bit. All right, we got 2 more positions I want to show you, and they're a lot of fun. Again, ones you don't want to neglect. Let's check them out. playing in the number 4 and the number 2 position on guitars like this. And in the track you just heard, the groove was kind of like a Professor Longhair groove, if you know who he is. And I just said, let's get funky and quirky with it. And speaking of those grooves, that shuffle and that groove you just heard, courtesy of one of the greatest drummers that I've ever heard, Stanton Moore. Man, he's from New Orleans and just a wonderful, wonderful player, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, and he provided some really fun drum tracks. The other one that you heard was by my buddy Kurt Biscara, Kirky B. He's got a great package of all of those that you can check out through a company called Yurt Rock. If you want to check those out, let me know. I'll point you in the right direction. So, man, great to have good drummers around, right? And you can really get a great human feel from those loops, too. Anyway, I thought, let's play a little bit more quirkier, funkier sounds in the 4 and in the 2 position. And when I start the track off, I start in the number 2 position, which is going to give me the middle and the bridge. And I kind of do this. And to me, I think of 2 things. I think of Mark Knopfler and I think of Vince Gill, or anybody doing this sort of slinky country. And you can kind of really differentiate yourself from the band because that sound isn't going to come from any other instrument. And it works really well with double stops, I've found. So we're playing G. Maybe you're playing a nice sort of like Motown. Another thing I'd like to do is I'm playing that all with my fingers, but when you get a pick in your hand, go for it and kind of do a muted. Great for rhythm stuff. And also great for sort of like kind of chicken picking on a Strat. Yeah, I said the S word, I'm allowed to. So that sound will really differentiate you, like I said, from the rest of the band. So in that track, I switched from the number 2 to the 4 position, which we'll do right here, and it's just wide open again. And this allows me to kind of really go for the double stop world and just get that sort of Hendrix, Stevie Ray type of thing. It's beautiful and chimey. But again, check this out too. We could put on some more gain, and dynamics plays a huge role in how we play along to this type of instrument and this pickup combination. A little bit of sparkle on the top end. When you dig in. Play really lightly, kind of cleans up. Try my volume control. Now, if I wanted to take a little bit of that top end off, let's take our tone control, roll it down a quarter. Make use of your number 2 and your number 4. Number 2 is great also for funk. 4 is great obviously for soloing, for those double stops. There's all kinds of spots that you can fit it in. John Mayer loves to do these little double stops, or maybe he'll, let's say, that's kind of fun. We can do it on the 4 position. Experiment, have fun, don't just get stuck to the neck pickup or any other one combination in a guitar like this. All right, lots and lots of fun, and we took it through the paces. I love doing that, especially when I'm playing over different tracks and get inspired by what the guitar is giving back to me. All right, so there you have it, 3 blues tones out of the SE Silver Sky from PRS. This is the John Mayer signature model, but the SE version, which means it's the more affordable of the two. This guitar comes in under $1,000. It's a lot of guitar for the money, and you can hear it sounds great. I'm not using any other bells and whistles other than the guitar and the amp and that one pedal, the Plumes from Earthquaker that you heard. So I wanted to make it simple and really showcase the guitar. Hopefully you dig it. They can't keep these in stock. They can't make them fast enough because it's a really, really good value for the money. And check out all the links for the amp, the pedal, and a lot of other stuff that I use in the description below. Special thanks to my friends at Sweetwater that gave me some loaner gear for this video, and be sure to download the backing tracks and have fun with those on your own. The great drummer Stanton Moore and Kurt Biscara both provided some great drum tracks for these. All right, I'm gonna do a lot more of this kind of stuff with gear that's under $1,000, pedals under $100. So if you like it and you have sort of a request, feel free to put it in the comments below. And of course, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more of this kind of content. Good luck with the tracks, have fun, and go get yourself a PRS SE Silver Sky when you can. All right, I'll see you on the next video.